Against the arch rival roller derby All-Stars. I am P. Armageddon.
And I'm Go-Go Boots.
And Go-Go, let's go ahead and start off reading our rosters here. Can you please read off our Victorian roster?
I can indeed. So for the Victorian Roller Derby League All-Stars, we have number 10, Bisexual. Number 11, Sarah Chambers. 117 is Chop Chop. 128, Amy Booth. 130 is Dire Skates. 192, Sage King. Number 20 is Laurie Evans. 2806 is Danny Darko. 35 is Anaconda. 38 is Bone Shaker. 4000 is Anna Pavuova. 54, Lady Trample. 66, Lauren Foot. 85 is Bianca. The coaches are Rosie and Demandria.
And for the arch rival, arch rival roller derby All-Stars, number 1057 is Shira Powers. Number 121, Smarty McFly. Number 14, Psycho Kid D Freakout. Number 15 is Bolt Action. Number 1853, Vicious Van Gogh. Number 1900, Cloak and Dragger. Number 23, Pegasus. Number 26 is Fletcher. Number 33 is Jamheiser Bush. Number 48 is Bricktator. 500, Grant. 68 is Swanson. 718 is Lux Furious. 810 is Kay Woodward. 87 is Subab Fight. They're coached by Saint and Code Adam. So we're going to line up here and get our first jam underway in a big matchup here on day 3, track 1. Good crowd here. If you can see on the screen back home, we appreciate everybody watching our live stream all weekend long.
We definitely do. And this will be, the beginning time of the day. So don't forget that there are many, many more games after this as well. But we are about to get underway for this fantastic matchup.
And we are, and looking at that jam line, looks like for arch rival, they will send Bricktator number 48 to start off as a jammer. And that's number 11 for Victorian, Sarah Chambers. And Bricktator through on the outside, picking up lead jammer for arch rival.
Yep, and we have Sarah Chambers fighting off the last blocker there. That was 1057. That was Shira Powers.
And Bricktator calls off the jam. She picks up, looks like 3 points, keeping Victorian off the board in jam number 1. So arch rival will take the quick early lead, 3-0. And we'll send jammer number 68 to the jam line. That is Swanson. And jamming up against her is number 54 for Victorian, Lady Trample. Lady Trample with a push off the line on Swanson. Goes outside to inside, dancing through on the inside now. Tight knit pack. A penalty going to be called. Track cut on Lady Trample.
Yeah, I think there might have been an issue with the toe stops going out and then back in. No, it looks like.
They waived the penalty off, it looks like, so she is back into play. Now she's through for lead.
There we go.
There we go. We have a lead jammer. It is Lady Trample.
I'm sure going through Lady Trample's head right now is, there we go, that's better.
That's where I'm supposed to be. That's where every jammer is supposed to be.
Exactly.
And Swanson breaks through for her initial pass, taking off the star.
A little star stash action. We have Danny Darko and Smarty McFly both in the penalty box right now.
5-point jam there for Lady Trample. That will give Victorian a 5-3 lead.
And this next jam, as I said, we've got a blocker in the penalty box for each team. So we will have a little 3-on-3 pack going on.
Here we go. And our jammers will be number 4000. That is Anna Pavuova. And looks like jamming for arch rival is Psycho Kid to Freakout, number 14.
And because it's kind of early on that both teams have slightly similar walling styles going on.
But through on the outside there, Go-Go, Psycho Kid to Freakout through there for lead. Able to find a gap to the outside line.
And looking at the previous games for Arch, Kid has been having a very nice weekend.
She very much has, trying to keep that alive right now as the lead jammer here. And look, a penalty going to be assessed. It's going to be a power jam now. Penalty on Anna Pavuova. I believe a track cut was the call. So now power jam for arch rival.
And Kid facing off against that wall at the front, but working that toe stop action, picking up a full 5-point pass.
Both teams trying to get their walls established now as Kid skates through, hitting in the turn at number 3.
Some nice offense from 1900 for arch rival. That would be Cloak and Dragger.
And jam is called off. 3 points picked up there by arch rival. And first few jams in, still a pretty close game though. Arch rival with an 8-point jam in total gives them 11. Victorian still at 5.
So I was looking at the rankings, and I do believe arch rival is 7th in the WFTDA rankings. And I think Victorian might be number 1.
I would suspect so because they do have that nice big shiny silver trophy with the skate on top.
That's the one.
That will be the Hydra, folks, and they are the defending champs. And good showing so far by both teams here as we go. Anna Paviova coming out of the penalty box now, jamming for Victorian.
Bolt action in the thick of it. Behind that very strong Victorian wall.
And trying to dance around on the outside is bolt action, but not able to do so. She'll quickly reset. Now going all the way back, getting drugged back to turn 2.
And that is Anna Paviova picking up lead.
Anna Paviova also having a very good weekend here for Victorian.
And it looks like we've had a star stash.
We have bolt action, had it in hand, able to make her way through, but Anna Paviova calls it off. She'll bring 4 points back to her bench with her. Want to remind everybody watching here on our live stream at home, if you're going to be posting on social media about all the great action you're seeing this weekend, make sure you use our official hashtag BigO2018. We want to see all your wonderful tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, Snapchats, whatever you want to do with it. And
all of the social media.
Yes, all the social medias all the time.
Because let's be fair, roller derby, it can be a very social sport.
It is.
And,
it is one of the more social sports, I think, out there. Here we go, Sarah Chambers jamming for Victoria.
And Brick Tater jamming for Arch.
And Sarah Chambers able to break through first and earn lead. Brick Tater now through for her initial pass.
And Brick Tater definitely putting on the speed to try and catch up with that pack.
And Sarah Chambers able to break through for a scoring pass, picks up 4 points before putting hands to hips.
And doing it very effectively as Brick Tater not picking up any points. But Brick Tater was quite close to the back of the pack.
Looks like a blocker advantage by 1 will be had here by arch rival as they start. As number 20, Lorraine Evans in the box for Victoria.
We have Lady Trample versus Swanson.
Both jammers getting a little bit of a start in the back there as the line started toward the pivot line. Now both walls trying to settle in.
And we can see, I think that's Vicious Van Gogh trying to provide some offense. Just 2 to beat right now for, 1 to beat rather for Swanson.
That is Bisexual doing some work on Swanson, but had to let her go, got past that 20-foot engagement zone. Lead jammer does go to Swanson. Pat now coming out of turn number 2. Swanson on a scoring pass, takes a hit from Bisexual, now re-engages the Victorian wall.
And Bisexual picking up a penalty for her troubles.
And Lady Trample did make her initial, but unable to get any points. A full 5 points there for Swanson. And now we're looking at a 13-16 game arch rival with a 3-point lead. Very, very close action so far early on in this one.
I was going to say, looking through the roster for Victorian, there are a couple of players they've had that have retired, but they do have a very, very strong core of jammers, very strong core of blockers. So we can see that even though the points differential is kind of close right now, they still have a lot of talent in that roster to make people's lives hell.
Indeed they do, but Lee Jammer this time around is going to go to arch rival.
That is Psycho Kid to freak out.
It is Psycho Kid to freak out. The scoreboard showing an incorrect lead jammer there in-house. So Psycho Kid now going back into recycle in turn number 1. And through the pack, there goes Psycho Kid to freak out. 5 points. Trying to add to that arch rival lead. Now everybody between turns 2 and 3. penalty assessed to one of the blockers for arch rival. That's number 1900, Cloak and Dragger.
And we have Laurie Evans returning to track. So this next jam will start 4-3 advantage.
And the 3-point pickup there by arch rival. These past couple of jams, arch rival been keeping Victoria off the board. It's exactly what they need to do to keep building on this lead and try to maintain it as long as they possibly can. So 24-13, the lead for arch rival. And they send number 15, Bolt Action, back to the jam line.
And Sarah Chambers jamming for Victorian.
Victorian wall comes back to meet Bolt Action. Chambers immediately slams into that arch rival wall at the front of the field. Now just pushing, working her way around the blockers. There goes lead jammer status for Sarah Chambers. Penalty assessed to Kay Woodward for arch rival.
So only 2 to get around.
Bolt Action working in the front of that field on the back of the field. Looks like we have had a star pass made by arch rival, number 15. No, sorry, Bolt Action did have a star in hand. I'm sorry, but she passed her pivot, I believe.
Yep, that is Vicious Van Gogo,
yes, but
with
Gogo,
the star in hand.
And Gogo was tied up for a second there, but able to break through. Now going to put the star on her helmet. And while Sarah Chambers threw for a 4-point scoring pass.
And Vicious Van Gogo is not adverse to wearing the star, having worn the star at a previous team, Gotham.
And for a few previous teams there, Gogo is a veteran of the Derbyverse.
Yes.
Now playing for arch rival. Sarah Chambers in the front of the field here, dodging through the last couple of blocks, able to make it through for a 5-point scoring pass.
And arch rival right now just providing that little bit of offense needed to get Vicious Van Gogo through.
And arch rival doing a good job there while working on the Victoria jammer, doing well also to get their jammer through. And that's a key thing about roller derby when you're playing both offense and defense simultaneously. And Sarah Chambers takes a spill to the outside. Both jammers kind of smiling that one off. Gogo kind of gives her a little hug at the end of that. 17-point jam for Victoria. Gives them 30 now to 28, a 2-point lead for VRDL. Hit this derby gear is everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
I was also going to say that, with teams at this level, it's not unusual to see such a tight scoreline. I think we've had a real evolution within the last couple of years where all of the top 10 teams, we're not seeing as massive blowouts as we have perhaps in the past.
That's correct. On the track here, Anna Paviova able to get lead. Brick-Tater picks up a penalty, so now a power jam for Victoria. And that'll give Anna Paviova a chance to break through and pick up a full handful of points, 5 in the sky.
And we currently see Arch setting up a 2-wall at the front, but
they're not able to contain Anna Paviova. She will get through for an additional 5. She will lose her pivot to the penalty box.
Yeah, Victorian are doing some fantastic offense at the moment, which is really helping the jammers get through.
It seems like maybe at the start of the game, that arch rival may have caught Victoria maybe off their game slightly, but it seems like the further we go in, Victoria trying to tighten up. But 3 points there picked up by Brick-Tater at the end of that jam. Celebrating with her bench, and now we have a 31-41 game, so a 10-point advantage held now by VRDL. Take an official timeout call, and while we're at an official timeout, let's talk to you about our friends at Rydell. Big O is brought to you by the acclaimed Rydell Solaris. The performance you demand, the comfort you've been missing.
And I've been saying this weekend, I am sure there are more than a few Rydell skates on the track for this game.
That is a safe assumption to make, Gogo.
Yep.
I want to once again welcome everybody who's just tuning in. Track 1, Day 3 at Big O 2018. You are watching Victorian Roller Derby League All-Stars in the white and blue against arch rival Roller Derby All-Stars in the pink and black. I am P. Armageddon.
I am Go-Go Boots.
It's been a very exciting first half so far. As we talked about it, it's been very close. No team really getting too far out early on here. Arch Rival got a quick early lead here, but Victoria able to kind of close it up and then overtake, and now holds a 10-point advantage coming into this jam, number 10.
And I do believe both teams are coming off the back of a win.
They are.
Victorian won against their game for Age of City yesterday, and Arch Rival played Montreal, who also took away the win.
They did. So both teams going to try to add another win under their belt here.
Everybody likes to win.
Of course, winning is nice. Winning is a good thing. We've seen a lot of winning this weekend. There's been some really great action all weekend long. We're still early on here in day 3. A lot left to go. And we're going to wrap up day 3, of course, with our awesome MVP game at the end of the night.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's been if the roster for that has been released yet.
I'm not sure. I know they take the submissions from the coaches and captains from all the teams yesterday and Friday, and those are being tabulated, I believe, maybe today. Those will be announced soon, and we'll have those rosters skating against each other later on in our last game here on track 1. Here we go. Next jam, Lady Trample wearing the star for Victoria. Up against 68 Swanson for Arch Rival, and Lady Trample able to break through and pick up lead.
Yep, and we have, one blocker for Arch going into the box and a blocker for Victorian going out of the box.
And Arch Rival losing another blocker to the penalty box. That is Kay Woodward. And Lady Trample through for a 5-point pass, and Swanson does make her initial pass.
So currently a 2-3 pack advantage, and Lady Trample using that fantastic footwork, the twisting and turning to pick up a 4-point pass.
Great form and great body control there by Lady Trample. They're able to twist and bend outside to inside to outside and move through and pick up points, but now knocked to the outfield. Will call it off. Smile on her face and a little applause afterwards, like, yeah, good job, good job. 13-4 jam there in favor of VRDL. 54-35 is your score.
Yeah, we can see VRDL are just eking out that lead, but currently with 19 points? Yes, 19-point differential.
I don't like doing math. Announcer math is always the best math.
I'm going to guess it's 19, and I'm sure the internet will tell me if I'm wrong right now.
Oh, they will. Trust me, they will.
But yeah, with a 19-point differential, as we know, anything can happen in this game, and 19 points is not an insurmountable lead.
Not at all, especially for the two jammers on the track here. We have Sarah Chambers jamming once again for Victoria up against Psycho Kid D Freak Out for Arch Rival. Psycho Kid D Freak Out breaks through in lead, yes.
Oh, I thought there was a contract penalty having been assessed. It may have been to another player, perhaps one of the blockers. And Kid, look at that. Twirling, going through the inside line.
Nice 5-point pickup there by Psycho Kid D Freak Out. Meanwhile, Sarah Chambers getting recycled back almost into turn number 1. Kid now looking to put more points on the board for the pink and black attack of Arch Rival. Pushing up last few blockers to get around, but nice work up front. Oh, beautiful blocking there by number 66, Lauren Foote. Forcing the recycle.
Just trying to hold that toe stop in there, but just a little bit off balance.
Just enough to knock her out and force her to have to go all the way back to turn 2. Now Sarah Chambers up against the braced wall in the front for Arch Rival. Kay Woodward serving as that brace, just leaning into it. Jam's going to be called.
You can see a little bit of exhaustion on Sarah Chambers' face there, as being really magnetized to that 3-wall there.
So it looks like we had a 10-point jam there for Arch Rival. That'll close that gap now to 9 points, 54-45. Still very much within reach here early on in this game. It looks like we have the dance moves of Anna Paviova at the jam line for Victoria.
And I do believe that is bolt action up for Arch Rival.
And Anna Paviova dancing on the outside, able to continue through and earn lead. Now bolt action gets low in the corner. I don't know how she kept that in bounds on that hit, but she stayed upright, able to make her initial pass.
And just sweeping around to the outside, but getting knocked out and taken back by that Victorian wall.
Now everybody hanging out in turn number 2. Both walls trying to get formulated. Anna Pavey over looking for an outside seam. Oh, he just knocked to the outfield.
Both jammers on the floor.
Take a penalty assessed there to Lux Furious for arch rival. You know, Anna Paviova able to continue and pick up 4 points.
And bolt action being recycled back to turn 1 there. You can see Arch trying to get some offense in there, but it kind of looks like bolt action's deciding, you know, I'm going to do a little bit of blocking right now.
Take a break from jamming and become the 5th blocker.
Yeah.
Never heard of an extra blocker out there, but she's going to get reset back behind at the jam line in turn number 4. But everybody goes back to the jam line for, let's just start over from the jam line.
And we can see Bisexual doing some really nice blocking there.
Both action trying to spin around, but can't get around Bisexual. Forearm penalty assessed to one of the blockers for arch rival. Meanwhile, 5 points picked up by Anna Paviova. Nice work there by the arch rival wall, just shuffling Anna Paviova to the inside, then the outside. Bodies hitting the floor once again, both jammers down. Jam comes to an end. 4 points, I believe, for arch rival and 3 for Victoria.
And it looks like both the bench for arch rival running into the middle there to have a little discussion with the referees.
Either that or just to give some direction to their skaters. Have a official review going to be called here by arch rival. So that official review will give us the opportunity to talk about our social media team has been doing an excellent job all weekend long in posting things on Facebook, Twitter, on the Big O official social media outlets. They've been working really, really hard all weekend. So we thank them for all their efforts, putting up pictures, posts, score updates, trying to give everybody an update who can't unfortunately be here this weekend to see the action live or can watch it on the live stream as you are back at home, our friends on the live stream. How you doing?
I know that we've been trying to work out some of the kinks for the live stream, so thank you for joining us.
We do appreciate everybody's patience, since we have a lot of volunteers doing hard work to bring the stream to you, and they are indeed working feverishly to make sure we bring you the best possible stream we can. So we thank them for all their hard work.
Unfortunately, sometimes technology just doesn't work with us. It works against us.
It is the case sometimes, but we try to do our best with it, and we really appreciate everybody, all of the volunteers, our host league, Emerald City, for putting on a great Big O 2018 once again. This is always a great tournament, always fun to come to. One of the big tournaments to start off the Derby year, and a lot of the big teams come to play and to watch. So you have a lot of great teams over 3 tracks, 55 games over 3 tracks over 3 days. That's a whole lot of Derby.
Everybody loves the start of Derby season and tournament season. We are currently watching the officials review. What we will do is, I think we do have a microphone down with the referees, so we will wait for them to explain what the official review was and the outcome, as I'm most certainly not a referee and cannot explain it with the eloquence that they do.
Neither am I, but our head referee will be giving us our instruction. That is the one and only Mike Hammer. He's joined out there by Shorty, Bruce Almighty, Raw Shark, A Hellraiser, Will Tweeton, and Seb.
And as always want to give a big shout out to our officials, both on and off skates, and all of the volunteers that have been making this one heck of a fantastic tournament weekend.
No kidding. And our NSO crew for this game is headed up by Adam Smasher and Delilah the Cider. We'll get to those in a minute. Here comes Mike Hammer.
On review, arch rival would like to see a cut call on the VRDL jammer in the last jam. Upon review, the VRDL jammer only put one hand out of bounds. No cut call will be issued. Arch rival does not retain the review.
There you have it, Go-Go. Official review called by Arch Rival looking for a track cut on the VRDL Jammer. They did not get it. They will lose the review for the remainder of the first half.
But they will get that. They will get a review for the second half.
They will. So here we go. Next jam underway. Wow, nice jammer matchup here. Bricktator up against Lady Trample.
Both very strong jammers for their respective teams. Both attacking those walls with real aggression and furor.
Lady Trample able to break through first. Lead jammer will go to Victoria. Penalty box now clear for the moment. So everybody in turn number 1. Bricktator looking to get around the back, but nice work in the back there by the Victoria defense, but she's able to skirt through on the outside. One block of the beat. She will make it through for her initial pass.
And Lady Trample, seeing the opposing jammer having escaped, decides, you know what, let's just call that.
I'll take my 5 points back to the bench, and we're done. 71-49 your score in favor of VRDL. And we're going to go into jam number 14.
How much time have we got left on the clock?
It's hard to see from our vantage point. It looks like 10 minutes, 57 seconds, but don't quote me on that. Here we go. It looks like Sarah Chambers wearing the star for Victoria. Up against Swanson for Arch Rival.
And Sarah Chambers making very quick work of that pack, getting out on turn 1, picking up lead jammer for Victorian All-Stars.
And Swanson just battling up front against Bisexual, but such a great blocker, doing her best to keep it back as long as she could, but had to let Swanson go for her initial pass.
Bisexual looked like she has picked up a penalty.
I think it's a track cut call, I believe, on Bisexual.
I remember the days when it used to be only the jammers picking up track cuts.
Those were the days. 4-point pass there by Sarah Chambers last time around. Now looking to put more on the board. Meanwhile, Swanson also putting up 4 points. Sarah Chambers makes another scoring pass. Looks at her turn coach, wondering if she should call it off, and she does. But not before adding those 4 points to her total. 8-point jam for VRDL, 79-53.
And we can see on the corner of turn 2, VRDL having a mirror bench. And we saw Sarah Chambers looking at the mirror bench and then looking at the bench, which we had a little delay of seconds, and then kind of going, okay, let's cut the seconds down off this clock, wait until they are approached at the back of the pack, and then we'll call.
Having that track awareness, knowing where the other jammer is, so vital. And here we go, this jam underway. Looks like jamming for Arch Rival is Psycho Kid to Freak Out. In the back of the field there, nice wall back there by Victoria, but getting some help trying to break up that wall. That was Pegasus, but lead jammer will go to Victoria. Number 117, Chop Chop, jamming for the first time today. Chop Chop takes a spill in the front. The Arch Rival wall. Stout trying to hold her back. Blocker trying to give her some help. Number 66, Lauren Foote.
And hearing a whistle go there, that was a blocker penalty.
2 blocker penalties there assessed to VRDL. Bisexual heading to the penalty box. Oh, and a track cut going to be called on Arch Rival's jammer. So Psycho Kid to Freak Out to the penalty box as well. So 2 blockers in the box for Victoria, Larae Evans and Bisexual on a VRDL power jam as the jam is called. Like 3 points there. So 82-53 Go-Go. VRDL with about a 30 roughly point lead. Not insurmountable by any means whatsoever.
No.
Especially with a team like Arch Rival who can quickly get back into play with their jammer rotation.
And just taking a quick look at some of the penalties. Nobody looks like they're in too much trouble. But we do have the 2 VRDL blockers in the box. Laura Evans and Bisexual both on... Oh, both on 4 penalties.
So that is a little troublesome there for VRDL. Meanwhile, the arch rival side, nobody over 2 penalties. They have 3 skaters with 2 penalties each. So pretty penalty clean for the most part in the game. Just a couple of Victorian blockers. A little over the edge there for first half penalties, so they're going to have to be very careful, especially in the second half. And our official timeout here. Let's talk to you about what everybody likes to talk about, playoffs. Playoffs. 2018 International WFTDA playoffs. Tickets go on sale next month. That is June 2018, folks. Get all your ticket information online at WFTDA.com/tickets.
And I think with international playoffs, they are very international.
They are. We have a playoff in Caruva, Spain. Also here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S. And then we have a Continental Cup in Birmingham, England.
Indeed.
So,
because the past few years, Derby has just skyrocketed up.
it has, and it's truly become a global sport. And we have a lead jammer now for Lady Trample on that power start. Still the only jammer on track.
And currently with, I was about to say 3 blockers in the bin, but 2 of them have just been released.
And so has Psycho Kid to freak out with Star in hand. Going to try to stash it and make her way through for her initial. Meanwhile, Trample being held in the back by the arch rival defense, but not for long. There she goes through on the inside, picking up 5 points.
And Kid with Star in hand has been released from the pack.
And Trample looked at her bench for a second, wondering if she should call it off. And she waited and waited and waited until Kid got to the back of the pack and put hands to hips.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, you know, the bench kind of letting their jammers run that jam for just a couple more seconds, you know, just eking out their score lead, but also eking out the amount of time left can be a very effective tool within the bench's box.
Yes, indeed. It looks like we will start with a blocker advantage here by 1 for arch rival. Interesting start here for arch rival. They send the pivot back with the jammer, who is number 15, bolt action. But meanwhile, lead jammer up out front for Victoria.
And that is Anaconda. Don't know if we've seen Anaconda wearing this. I don't think we have wearing the star this game.
I think she jammed early in the period, but she hasn't jammed in a while. So first time back out there as jamming, but a forearm theft to arch rival. That is Kay Woodward. As the jam's called off, 3 points picked up by VRDL, none for arch rival.
When I was watching the arch rival game yesterday, very much noticing Kay Woodward's fantastic blocking, and you know, got to speak to Vicious Man Gogo at the end doing an interview, and you know, learning about the things that they are training to do, and you know, I see very good things in Archer's future.
Oh yes, indeed. Here we go. Good things also now for Sarah Chambers, able to break through on the inside, picking up lead here for Victoria.
But look at that sneaky jammer action from number 48, Brictator for Arch. Seeing that inside line gap and just putting on that speed.
Brictator is a dynamo out there. She can just truck it for speed or for power to break through a wall. She's very much a very versatile jammer in that arch rival toolbox. 3-point jam there for VRDL, 93-53, now an even 40-point lead as time ticking away here in the first period. And looks like Swanson will take the line for arch rival against Anna Paviova for VRDL.
And we have Lauren Foote and Kay Woodward in the box.
Like an official timeout going to be called. Experience world-class edging with the Radar Halo, available in a full range of hardnesses from 84A all the way up to 103A. There's a Halo for everyone.
Also, if you are anywhere near Eugene, Oregon, stop watching the stream and get yourselves here, because, you know, you think this game is exciting. We have so much more to offer. And, you know, as wonderful as the stream is, as wonderful as watching it at home is, there is something about being in that crowd.
Exactly, having the feel of the arena. And we try to give it the best we can also on the stream, but when you're in-house, you get that It's a different feeling, but it's a good feeling, but it's a different feeling.
It's a different atmosphere.
It is, exactly. Here we go. Swanson jamming for arch rival.
And Swanson with 1 to beat, picking up lead for arch rival.
Anna Paviova tries to get through in the middle. She will make her initial pass, I believe. No, a forearm call. Going to be assessed to Anna Paviova, so a power jam now for arch rival.
And with only 2 blockers currently on track for Victorian, hopefully a little bit of an easier pass for Swanson right now.
But not so much. Biceptual worked as hard as she could to keep her back, but had to let her go. And a full 5 points picked up by Swanson.
This is exactly what Arch are looking for right now. As we've said, the score isn't necessarily insurmountable, but having that power jam opportunity is always worth taking to the max.
And Swanson losing her pivot, Vicious Van Gogh to the penalty box, but not affecting her right now as she breaks through once again. 5 more points on the board. Looking to chip away at this VRDL lead, but Anna Paviova now back in play as well. Ooh, avoids a huge hit from Kay Woodward. Able to continue and make her initial non-scoring pass.
Looked like Anna Paviova just leapt over that hit.
Biceptual will take a seat in the penalty box. Meanwhile, everybody in turn number 1. Anna Paviova through for a scoring pass. She'll put 4 on the board, and the jam is called. 2 more picked up there by arch rival.
And as we were saying earlier, it wasn't looking like too much penalty trouble, but with Biceptual's 5th trip to the penalty box, and is it 4 minutes left on the board?
It's kind of hard to see from our angle, so we'll trust people at home that know how much time has left, but there's not a whole lot of time left. I'll venture that one safely. Here we go. Psycho Kid to freak out, wearing the star for arch rival, and Chop Chop once again jamming for Victoria. Both teams' walls, furious action.
Chop Chop with a penalty.
Yes. So lead jam now and power jam for arch rival.
And Arch currently doing a really nice job of separating that BRDL wall.
Arch rival trying to work in the back to keep that goat in the back of the field. Meanwhile, scoring 5 points on the pass. There goes Psycho Kid to freak out.
It looks like we've got a couple of arch rival fans in the audience, as there is a lot of cheering and clapping as Kid makes their way through the pack.
And once again, now the Victoria wall setting up shop. Kid trying to get through once again, but nice work there in the front, but she's able to break through. Oh, but a forearm call going to be assessed to Psycho Kid to freak out. So reversal of fortune, power jam for Victoria. Oh, no, looks like the penalty's been waved off on Psycho Kid to freak out. She is going to return to play. So no power jam now, both jammers in action.
And currently a 4-on-3 blocker advantage as Bone Shaker is taking a little seat in the penalty box. We don't know what penalty they received, but it
warranted a penalty box trip. And wow, nice pass through there for Psycho Kid to freak out to the applause of the crowd, and a track cut call on Biceptual. I believe that is her 6th penalty.
That was a cut track penalty, I think.
That is, and her 6th penalty of the first half. And now Psycho Kid to freak out, looking for a lane inside, knocked to the infield, getting some help from Pegasus, now trying to break up the defense set up by Victoria.
And this is just a fantastic jam for Arch. The crowd is very happy. The players looking even happier right now.
Yes, indeed. A 17-point jam for Arch rival. Closes the gap, 97-82 in Go-Go Boots. We are at halftime.
And what a wonderful jam to have ended that first half on.
Yes, indeed. Very, very strong play by Arch rival, bringing that gap ever so slightly back into play now. An exciting second half. Penalties starting to play an issue a little bit for Victoria. We're going to see how that plays out in the second half.
Yep, looking at the penalties for arch rival, we've got one player that is 8-1-0, Kay Woodward. A few forearms penalties there, but arch rival looking a lot cleaner on the board for penalties, whereas, as we said, Victorian, maybe a little trouble going on for one or two of their players.
So we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll be back with you shortly in about 9 minutes with the second half of our game here on Track 1, Day 3, Big O 2018. And welcome back to track number 1 here, Day 3 at the Big O 2018. Going to come back to our second half here. Very, very good game going on between Victoria Roller Derby All-Stars and arch rival All-Stars. 97-86 your score. Victoria with the halftime lead. I am P. Armageddon.
And I am Go-Go Boots.
And Go-Go, we were talking about it kind of to ourselves off mic. This first half between two very closely matched, not too far away in the rankings, teams here in our top 10. We expected to see a very good back and forth battle, and we have seen just that.
Yeah, we ended the first half on a fantastic jam. I think it was Kid with a 17-point jam, just pulling that scoreline to 11 points.
It was a 21-point jam.
It was a 21-point jam. Okay.
Yeah. So now it is an even 11-point lead for Victoria. So hot and heavy, fast and furious action, and we're going to see, I think, the same thing here. We'll see if teams made any kind of corrections at the half. We talked about some penalty issues for VRDL. Biceptual sitting on 6 penalties coming into the half. LaRae Evans with 4. And here we go with jam number 1. Sarah Chambers. Oh, but lead jammer is going to go to arch rival here.
And referee spending a little bit of time on track as well.
That is Brick Tater. Oh, with an apex jump. Beautifully done, Brick Tater. Starting this half off with a bang, 5 points.
Yeah, wanting to keep that momentum of that last jam going, even though they've had a little 10-minute break going, you know what? I still want to be getting more points on that board. Exactly.
Brick Tater knocked to the inside, now going to reset. Meanwhile, Sarah Chambers caught up in the back by the arch rival wall. Nice block there, number 1924 Victoria. Sage King able to knock Brick Tater out.
Chambers has finally broken free from that pack. Brick Tater deciding, you know what, I'm going to call that. But that is a 10-point pass, so this is now a 1-point game.
Ooh, this is going to be good, folks. If you're just tuning in, you missed a great first half. Shame on you, but we'll forgive you this time. But you came in for a really exciting second half.
Exactly. And you better stay where you are and keep watching this.
Exactly. And this jam coming up right here. Swanson for arch rival. Lady Trample for Victoria. Full complement of blockers for each team and jammers. So here we go. Jam number 2. Trample to the inside. Spins through and picks up lead.
I know it isn't easy, but Lady Trample makes it look so elegant.
She does, so effortless and elegant. Yeah. Penalty assessed to one of the blockers here for Victoria, so there'll be a blocker down at the moment, but nice move by Swanson on the inside. 4-point pickup for arch rival. That is Bianca Scaretta with the penalty for VRDL.
And Trample calling it off before any more points. Have we had... Oh, so close to having a lead change there. Both the jammers picking up 4 points apiece. 101 to Victorian and 100 to arch rival.
If you have a seatbelt handy, strap in. I got a feeling this is going to be a very, very furiously played second half. And here we go with Anna Pavia over for Victoria. And that is Psycho Kid to freak out with the star for arch rival.
Yeah, I think the edge of your seat is going to get very warm at this game. You can see some fantastic footwork by Kid, just jumping and juking back and forth, trying to create a little distraction and hole.
Meanwhile, Anna Pavia over in the front, just leaning on the arch rival braced wall. Oh, a penalty going to be assessed to Kid. Track cut is the call, so here we go, a power jam for Victoria. Let's see if they can take advantage and maybe try to open that gap a little wider. with one of their best performing jammers of the weekend here in Anna Paviova.
Anna Paviova picking up a full 5-point pass there, just swooping around that outside line.
She will lose her pivot to the penalty box as Foot taking a seat. So each pivot now in the penalty box, but still a power jam for Victoria.
Can we just talk about how we had a couple of bodies hitting the floor there, but we had some fantastic getting back up, that quick reflex to just wall up. Really fantastic work.
Psycho Kid back out from the penalty box, makes her initial pass. And Anna Paviova able to call it off. 5-point pickup for Victoria, so they're able to widen that scoring gap a little bit now. 111 to 100 after a 10-point jam.
It's a very nice moment there with Bianca Scaretta watching as Kidd approached that inside line there. A little eye contact, a little smile as the whistle was called there.
I'm watching you there. I'm watching you.
There's nothing worse for a jammer than seeing a nice clear inside line until you get just where you need to be and then have a blocker just move into the way.
There we go. Looks like lead jam will go to Victoria this time around. Sarah Chambers able to break through for lead. And through for her initial pass for arch rival is Bolt Action.
Bolt Action is, for want of a better word, bolting her way around the track.
She is. Jam is called 1 point there. Bolt Action got 1 point. And Victoria kept off the board, so Sarah Chambers not able to keep arch rival off the board as the lead jammer. So good work there by Bolt Action, able to fight her way through and earn that hard-earned single point. Lady Trample and Brick Tater are your jammers. Pat comes back to meet them as the whistle blows. Lady Trample got a little too anxious there, jumped the line, able to go back and see position, but skates through around on the outside and picks up lead regardless.
Yeah, there was a clear line on the outside there.
Brick Tater through for her initial. And Trample now reapproaching the back of the field, sending her blockers up to rush block for her. And Trample on her knees calls off that jam and picks up, I believe, 2 points. She does, yes.
Yeah, I think for the next couple of jams, might see a little bit of nickel and diming, just picking up 1 or 2 points as these teams getting their jammers out at similar times.
There's indeed 12-point lead here for VRDL. They will send Sarah Chambers back out to the jam line against Swanson for arch rival. And Chambers to the inside, ducks through, finds a gap, and will be lead jammer.
That was absolutely beautiful, just slamming into that and just swinging around that gap.
And through for her initial also is Swanson now. Penalty assessed to Bianca Scaretta for Victoria. Sarah Chambers calls off that jam. She picks up 4. So once again, Victoria trying to play a little small ball here, hitting quick jams to try to stretch that lead out slowly but surely.
Also, something I wanted to mention about both of these teams, they have quite a nice deep roster of jammers. Again, harking back to yonder days, maybe having a 2 or 3 jammer rotation, but we are seeing more and more effort being put into having as many top-level jammers as possible, and it definitely pays off for these teams.
It does, yes, indeed. And one of those top-flight jammers, Anna Paviova through for lead. Oh, a high block call, I believe, being assessed. Oh, high block is the call on Psycho Kid to freak out. So a power jam here for Victoria. Anna Paviova looking for a scoring pass. She will complete it, and it's 5 up for Victoria.
And we also have Cloak and Dragger joining Kidd in the penalty box.
So blocker advantage and jammer advantage for VRDL. Another scoring pass complete there by Anna Paviova.
And this is certainly the momentum that Victorian want to keep going right now. We've seen a couple of really good jams from Arch, just bringing that back. And now we see VRDL going, okay, we're gonna match you for that. We're gonna have a couple of nice long jams now.
It was a very similar start at the beginning of the first half to this half. Also, Arch started off strong, tried to catch Victoria on their heels. And now Victoria trying now to take advantage of that power jam, which has since ended. And Anna Paviova will call it, nodding at her bench, saying, okay, we got this, 5 points. And a 15-point jam there for Anna Paviova, 132 to 101. Team timeout going to be called by Arch rival.
And we can also see Bisexual back on the track for Victorian. So we're going to want to be keeping an eye out on those penalties, and hopefully Bisexual will also keep an eye out on those penalties.
Exactly. The Big O is brought to you in part by the acclaimed Rydell Solaris, the performance you demand, the comfort you've been missing.
And for anyone who's worn skates, we know that comfortable skates go a long way to helping you when you are learning and when you are playing big tournaments like this.
I'm not a skater, but I can totally agree with that. Knowing a lot of skaters like I do, I think that's pretty much proper.
Yeah.
Let me introduce the rest of our NSO crew. I didn't get to do it earlier because we had to get back to play action here. So, of course, Adam Smasher and Delilah Decider are our lead for the crew. We also have Karma Sutra, Chemical Restraint, Hannah, Nitsugi, or Nitty for short, Tuck and Roll, Boa Constrictor, and Tenacious D-Cup.
And once again, as we've said that, big thank you to our refs and our NSOs here this weekend. We have a phenomenal level of officiating for possibly one of the best tournaments of the season, and we greatly appreciate their time and effort. Also, time and effort being put in by Lady Trample, paying off and picking up lead there.
Meanwhile, Bolt Action wearing the star for Arch rival, able to make her way through, and her initial pass is complete. Trample now mired in the back against that Arch rival wall.
And they are not making it easy for Trample to get through.
And Bolt Action able to force a penalty on one of the blockers for VRDL. Scoring pass completed there by Bolt Action, picking up 4. That is on Booth, 128, the penalty for Victoria.
And Trample seeing her opposing jammer coming around, going, you know what, let's call that off.
So it's like 3 points picked up by Lady Trample, 1 additional point picked up by Bolt Action. So 5-4 jam, 106 for Arch, 135 now for VRDL.
Yep, we see VRDL have pulled forward that lead, but with I think about 20 minutes left on the board. Again, that is not an insurmountable lead by any means.
Exactly, and if you want a jammer out there for Arch rival to try to break into that, it is the one we have out there, number 48, Bricktator. Meanwhile, Sarah Chambers with the star for Victoria, but Sarah Chambers able to find an outside line breakthrough and earn lead.
And we have a power jam going for Victorian as the captain, Bricktator, going into the penalty box. And one person you don't want to have a power jam situation is going to be Sarah Chambers.
That is correct. And she's going to skip and hop her way through on the inside there for a 5-point pass. And this power jam could be just what VRDO needs to even widen that scoring gap a little more. But Bricktator is standing in the penalty box, just chomping at the bit to get back in.
Some wonderful offensive work there by 192 for VRDL. That is Sage King. And I think we've said Sage's name at least twice already.
We have. And Sarah Chambers now working at the front of the field. Sage King was working to help break up the arch rival wall, but had to help defend Bricktator, but unable to do so, so Bricktator makes her initial pass.
And we can see that inside line very, very clear.
Call off there by Sarah Chambers, 3 points for Victoria. So a 13-point jam in total there, 148 to 106 now. VRDL with the lead.
And up next for VRDL, Anna Paviova, and up next for Arch Swanson. And we have currently an empty penalty box, but you know, now that I've said that, I'm sure we're going to see a whole lot of skaters going into the penalty box, as is the announcer's curse.
Hashtag announcer's curse. It's true, folks. Jam underway. Anna Paviova knocked to the outside. Going to reset back behind Kay Woodward and Smarty McFly. But now everybody hanging out in turn number one. Big congealed pack.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like we poured super glue onto the pack and everyone is just stuck next to one another.
They just wanted to hang out turn one and see all the wonderful fans in turn one and tell them hi.
It also looked like Anna Paviova wanting to make sure that her opposing jammer got hit out by her.
So now both teams getting their wall set up with a little bit of distance now. Arch rival wall in the front working on Anna Paviova, but nice blocking up front, trying to bust it open. They're going to have to reset. Meanwhile, Swanson still was mired in the back of the pack, but found an inside gap and his lead jammer.
And that was nearly a full minute before we had a lead jammer call. Really just suckered to one another on that turn one.
And Swanson now on the up front working on Bianca Scaretto, trying to get by. Bisexual now also working. And join up front now, all three Victorian blockers with a bridge. And Swanson able to find us, able to keep it in bounds. Nice balance by Swanson. Scoring pass complete for 4 points.
And a forearms penalty going to Anna Paviova will mean this is Swanson's power jam.
And a big opportunity here for Swanson, able to complete another scoring pass. 5 points here. Let's see if she can work to either close the gap or possibly even try to freeze Anna Paviova in the penalty box. But
yeah, looking over to the bench and giving the should I call it off right now signal. Bench going, you know what, just keep going for a little bit.
There she goes. She ran it for a little bit. She kind of looked like, okay, we'll call it off now. We called it off, and that will freeze Anna Paviova in the penalty box, but she is on her wheels, so she will be out shortly.
And a nice little jazz hands action as Arch coming off the track with Swanson there.
Gotta be a little festive with jazz hands. And Brick Tater all by her lonesome at the jam line for Arch rival. She won't be for long, though. As we said, Anna Paviova going to be out of the penalty box in mere seconds. Pack moving through now with Brick Tater. Nice blocking in the front there. Brick Tater able to find a gap. 2 more to beat. Nice spin move to the outside. Wow, Brick Tater, ballerina style, spins through with a pirouette, picks up lead.
And Anna Paviova just getting stuck behind that wall. Spinning hit out there. We have Brick Tater coming back onto the track.
Like both pivots now sitting in the penalty box. Brick Tater through for a scoring pass. She puts up a 4-point pass.
And also again looking at the bench to go, should I call this now? Since Anna Paviova is in pack.
That's the strategy call. Do you get that now and stop the opposing jammer from scoring points, or do you just let it run long and trust your defense to help you get points of your own?
If you're going to trust the defense of your teammates, these are definitely good teammates to be trusted.
I agree.
For that.
I highly agree with that. Both jammers now stuck in the back of the field here. Turn number 1. Brick Tater tries to go inside. Oh, was knocked to the infield. Great blocking there by number 192 for Victoria Sage King.
And calling that off, 4 points on the board.
For each team on that pass.
Yep, so Victorian are on 155 with those 4 points, and Arch rival picking up 8, so 128.
So still a very, very tight game here as we line up for our next jam. Lady Trample gonna go wiggle on there, the dance line, the jam line.
Well, it is the dance line.
It's gonna be hashtag dance line now. I just started that. Up against Psycho Kid to freak out for Arch rival.
I think Kid might be saving her dancing for after the jam being over.
Or for the after party, either way.
Yeah, for the after party.
Lady Trample able to dance her way through and earn lead.
Both of them have danced their way into our hearts, though.
They have.
So that's the
Yes,
important thing.
Elwin Trample hops over the edge of the apex, and a scoring pass complete for 5. Pack still hasn't really made it past turn 2 yet. as Kidd working her way on the outside there, but that Victorian defense, the famed Victorian wall, just working so hard to keep Kidd from getting around. Trample through for another scoring pass and calls it.
Trample looking slightly confused there as the whistle blew. I don't know if it was a natural conclusion of the jam.
It may not have been, but it was in the eyes of the referees who saw it. So 10 points, 165 for VRDL, 128 for Arch Rival. And Arch Rival once again with that start where they bring the pivot back right in front of the jammer at the jam line. So maybe kind of trying to run a little interference like a fullback, maybe if you're for a football reference. But now the pack comes back to meet them. Bolt action with that star for Arch Rival, Sarah Chambers for VRDL.
And VRDL blocker picking up a penalty there.
That is Lauren Foote. So a blocker advantage here for Arch Rival.
And again, we see jammers having a little bit of trouble on that first turn.
Nice work there by number 192. We'll say it again, Sage King. We've said Sage King's name quite a bit. Doing work back there on bolt action. The lead jammer is established. That is Sarah Chambers. A penalty assessed to Lux Furious for Arch Rival. And now a penalty on number 20, Lorraine Evans for VRDL. Oh, a penalty assessed to bolt action. Jammer taking a seat in the penalty box, so a power jam for Sarah Chambers.
And with only 2 blockers on the track for Arch, this might be a few easy passes through for Sarah Chambers.
1 pass complete there. She will pick up the full 5. As we're under a minute to go on the jam. Oh, big hit there. Sage King, I'm just going to...
Knocking Smarty McFly out of bounds.
I'm just going to say Sage King almost every jam because I feel like I'm saying Sage King's name every jam. Very nice work there. As a scoring pass complete there by Sarah Chambers.
Big hit there, taking Sarah Chambers to the infield.
She took that hit with a smile on her face. She got up, she had a smile like, oh, wow, that was big. Let's try that again.
I mean, even when you're getting battered around as a jammer, I think there's a certain level of, oh, that was a really good hit.
Game respects game.
Yeah.
As we have a full complement of skaters on the track as we go. And the jam is called. 4 points picked up by VRDL on that pass. A 18-point jam there. Gives them 183 to 128. Want to remind everybody watching on our live stream at home, if you are going to be posting about all the cool action, especially in this game and the rest of the games in Day 3 here at Big O 2018, use our official hashtag Big O 2018. We want to see all your awesome posts, see how much you're loving all the great action going on here, and in this game in particular that we're bringing to you right now as we get on our next jam. Lady Trample up against Swanson.
Yeah, and currently with a 56-point differential, we are looking for Arch to really pull that forward if they want to keep themselves in this game. However, Trample has picked up lead, and as we've seen, Trample being a very effective jammer at just racking up points.
And now the pack mired between turns 1 and 2. Trample back up to the front now, working on the wall for Arch Rival. Getting some help. Nice clear out block by her pivot. That was number 2806, Danny Darko, but quick reformation there by the Arch Rival wall, but they have to, oh no, a track cut call on Lady Trample. That's going to give a power jam now to Arch Rival.
And we haven't had a massive amount of jammer penalties for either team. We were going to take a look at the stats there, but they seem to have disappeared from our screen. But we can see the action going on right now, which is Arch on a power jam.
And here we go. In turn number 4, Swanson still trying to look her way around there, but nice defense here by Victoria. Meanwhile, Trample skates back through, so we're going to have the full complement of time here on this jam, the full 2 minutes, or under 30 seconds to go. Trample now just shuffling her feet, shimmy shaking, takes a spill, big hit there.
I think Kay Woodward was the impact, but I do believe one of her other blockers may have had a little assist in pushing Kay into Trample's path.
But Trample, nice, just hopped over, landed on a toe stop, spun around, scored 5 points. Textbook. That's how you do that.
Yeah, if you are looking for classic derby action and some textbook, if you are looking to use these as teaching aids, well, these would be worth using.
I'm pretty sure this footage is probably going to be viewed quite often when the archives are up, which are going to be up from what I'm told next week by our awesome stream staff. So take a look for those. Keep an eye out for them. 189 to 132 here. Victoria with the lead. Heading into jam number 15, they will send Sarah Chambers to the jam line up against Brick Tater, but we have a team timeout going to be called by Arch Rival. So past couple of jams, Victoria starting to edge that lead out a little bit more. But Arch Rival can make that up pretty quickly. We talked about these teams both having very deep jammer rotations, very strong defense. It's almost like which one of those is going to give fully at this point, because you can have an outstanding jammer up against an outstanding defense, and something has to give.
Yeah.
Immovable force, unstoppable force, and immovable object, that whole comparison.
All of the sciencings and...
Science stuff. Sciencey. #science. Hit this derby gear is everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all of your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at the score again. 189 to Victorian and 132 to Arch. That is 57-point differential. And with 8 minutes left in the game, we are looking to see if Arch is able to close that gap and perhaps even have a lead change.
Very possible. It's like I said, still a lot of time to go. Brick Tater going to try to force that, moving to the front of the field very quickly, but Victoria trying to lock down 2 blockers to beat. And she breaks through. Lead jammer is going to go to Brick Tater, as Lorraine Evans picking up a penalty for Victoria. That is her 6th. And another penalty assist there to Foot. That is her 4th penalty. And scoring pass complete there by Brick Tater, picking up the full 5.
And with 3 blockers in Victorian side of the box, Brick Tater picking up another 5 points there.
And that's been kind of the key to the second half, these blocker penalties for both teams. They get multiple blockers in the penalty box. That frees up the other jammer, frees up the other blockers to focus more on opening up holes for their jammer instead of defending against the other jammer.
Brick Tater with another 4 in the sky, and it looks like the penalty box is clearing out.
Sarah Chambers' slide job through the pack, but goes out of bounds. Meanwhile, Brick Tater coming in hot, pirouettes on one skate to the outside, and decides, I'm going to call that off. Wow. 4 points for each jammer on that pass. 18-point jam there by Arch Rival, 193 now to 150.
Yeah, it looks like 3 points, yeah, and I feel like Arch Rival's bench wasn't too happy with that last pass through for Sarah Chambers. Some signalling the cut track penalty, but nobody's looking to use their review.
And both teams still had their reviews, maybe holding on to it for a more vital moment later in the game, but here we go. Oh, a jammer penalty right off the bat for Arch Rival. Psycho Kid to freak out, taking a seat. So now a power jam for Anna Pavey over.
But Arch doing a nice job at the moment of locking Anna Pavey over into their wall.
But nice work also now by VRDO, working to kind of interfere with that wall. Anna Pavey over tried to do a little shirt whip around to the inside, but got stopped.
I think that was by Kay Woodward, just going, nope, I'm occupying this space,
You can't be here.
And you can't get through.
And Psycho Kid to freak out has been released from the penalty box, but lead jammer does go to Anna Pavey over. But it took almost a full minute to get that lead jammer status, so we'll see what she can do with it.
Yeah, that was a very nice penalty kill. As we said, Psycho Kid to freak out being in the penalty box, and then lead only being called just as she's been released.
So now working up front is Psycho Kid to freak out, tries to edge around. Nice footwork. On her toe stops, dances around, makes her initial pass. And jam is called. 2 points more added for VRDL. So very nice job there by Arch Rival, as you said, to kill that penalty time, but also to stop the flow of points for a little bit on the Victorian side.
And again, going back to the stats, penalty trouble for at least 3 of the Victorian blockers. 2 of them are on 6, and it looks like Lauren Foote joining on the 5. Arch Rival, couple of 4s and 3s spread about, but nobody in too serious trouble.
And here we go, Swanson up against Lady Trample. Both
Swanson just aggressively working into the wall there.
They both were at one point, but Lady Trample able to just dive in on the inside, spin through, and become lead jammer.
And Trample just sliding around the outside there.
And 5-point scoring pass complete there. Swanson now getting tied up in that Victorian defense, trying to cinch down, trying now to stretch it out. Is Swanson with star in hand, makes her initial pass. And Trample tries to go outside and duck back in, but the Arch Rival defense bearing down. And it got to the outside, almost completed by Lady Trample. Stays in bounds, great balance. Took a hit from Kay Woodward and stayed on one skate. Kept it in the line and earns another scoring pass. 4-point pass there by Swanson. Track cut assessed to one of the blockers for Arch Rival. There it is, number 33.
Jam Heiserbusch.
Yep. So a blocker advantage by 1 for VRDL as we start our next jam number 18.
And it looks like there is a clean 50-point differential between these 2 teams right now.
Want to once again thank everybody for watching. If you're just tuning in, we are at Big O 2018, track number 1. An amazing game going on here between Victorian Roller Derby All-Stars and Arch Rival Roller Derby All-Stars. I am P. Armageddon.
And I am Go-Go Boots. And we are looking at just over 2 minutes left of this game. Timeout has been called by Arch.
So yeah, it looks like Victoria trying to stretch out this lead. It's been around this 40-50 realm for a little while now, but Arch not letting them go without a fight. Arch has been putting up a strong fight here, both jammer-wise and blocker-wise. Doing good on penalty kills when they're jammers in the box, but also doing well to keep the Victorian jammers at bay as long as they can.
Absolutely. The tactics on display are incredible. The energy here is electric. And also, if you are going to want to see more action like this, I'm going to suggest you go and get your tickets next month for the 2018 International WFTDA playoffs.
Oh, yes.
All ticket information on WFTDA.com/tickets. And I'm fairly confident that these 2 teams will be making an appearance.
I agree. That's all I'm going to say. I agree. It's going to be great this year with that setup. We have, of course, the 2 main D1 playoff sites in Korea, Spain, and Atlanta, Georgia. We have the Continental Cups, 2 of them in the U.S., Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I think in Nebraska, Omaha, and then the one in Birmingham in the U.K., and then rounding it all off with championships in New Orleans, Louisiana.
And champion of this jam right now is Sarah Chambers, having picked up lead.
But not to be outdone, Brick Taylor shaking her head saying, that took some work, but I'm going to catch you.
Brick Taylor looking quite sassy there.
She did.
Little sassy looking around like, nope, I got out.
She kind of looked at the Victorian bench like, nah, I got past y'all. I'm going to get back up there, but couldn't put any points up. 2 points picked up by VRDL. So,
and we currently have, as I said, just over 2 minutes left.
We do, and it's 204 to 154, so it's still a 50-point spread. And And Lady Trample up again, jamming for Victoria, and that is Bolt Action wearing that star for arch rival. Both jammers get a little bit of a gap there to build speed. Lady Trample takes advantage, spins her way through once again, and is your lead jammer.
And it looks like we've had the star being removed by Bolt Action. Whether or not that's a stash or a pass, we now have that confirmed. That has been a pass to Vicious Van Gogo.
I believe that yes, that is Gogo, and she is working around the outside, able to make her initial pass and put the cap on.
You know, me and Gogo don't just share the same name. You know, I taught her everything she knows.
Oh, and, did you now?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Everything she knows about announcing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not skating.
Oh, but apparently not to cut the track, because she picked up a track cut call, did Vicious Van Gogo. So a power jam for Victoria.
And we currently have Victorian's bench standing right now.
As we're down to the last few seconds, 15 seconds on the game clock. The jam clock about 40 seconds more ahead, so could be our last jam here. And Trample gets reset right past the jam line, now leans in on that braced wall for arch rival.
And that is one heck of a strong braced wall.
Direction of gameplay call assessed, and jam will be called, and Gogo boots, our period time has expired, so we're having unofficial final score. Victoria going to come in with the victory here, 211 to 156. We're going to wait for our official final score.
Yep, it isn't official until our officials say it's official.
Official.
Yeah, it's officially official once they say.
But what a great game regardless, though. It was such a great game back and forth. Arch rival had those bursts to begin the first and second half, really came out strong. But Victoria just able to lay into it, start playing their game, and come away with a victory here.
Yeah, I can't keep going on about how incredible Arch are, but they are. They've done some phenomenal work, and that score has now been finalized. So we are looking at a win for Victorian. That is 211 points, with Arch coming in at 157.
So once again, another great game here on track one, day 3 at the Big O 2018. It's been a very, very great weekend. We're not done yet. Still some games to go. And remember, our last game of the evening, our last 2 games actually are both going to be MVP bouts. Our second to last game actually will be the juniors MVPs playing, and our final game will be the Big O MVPs, all gender inclusive. So it's going to be everybody playing from MRDA and WFTDA teams. So it's going to be very, very fun to watch.
And I'm just taking a quick look at the lineup on track 1. So next up on this track, we're going to have Angel versus Denver. That's starting at 2 o'clock local time. We also have Bridgetown versus Denver, which is the men's game. That's going to be at 4 o'clock again on this track. But we also have a lot more roller derby to come. Just taking a quick look. The Terminal City versus Calgary is still ongoing at the moment. We've got Vancouver versus Texas men's, St. Louis versus Houston men's. Victorian are playing Montreal later. And we also have a third track with a couple of juniors games and a couple of MRDA games. But, you know, we are hoping whichever track you are looking at, you will be checking out some fantastic action. As we see, we do have Angel City getting ready to join on track against Denver now.
And we're going to have a post-game interview here for you shortly. We're going to get that lined up in a second. Our friend Chloroform Cupcake will be interviewing our tournament head, Rex Havoc, talking about all the cool stuff going on this weekend at Big O. And we can't say it enough. Thanks to everybody who's volunteering and helping, to our host league, Emerald City, for putting on such a great tournament every single year. Big O is one of my favorite events of the year to come to.
I will agree with you there. It most certainly is one of my favorite events too. And, you know, like we've just seen with this game, the level of talent that we have on track, the level of talent that we have off track, it's just a very good weekend for all. It
really is. And you get to see all kinds of different games. You see juniors, MRDA games, WFTDA games, between 3 tracks, some of the best leagues in the world come here to Eugene, Oregon to ply their wares and play and perform in front of all the people in the crowd, whether at home or on our live stream. And it's been just a great, great turnout, and we have more great games to come in the name. Following us, like we said, Denver versus Angel City is going to be an exciting, exciting game.
Yeah, we saw Denver playing yesterday against, was it Rose, I believe?
It was Rose City, yes.
Yeah. And we said Angel City playing against Victorian. The level, the number of top 10 teams that we have here, it's good bang for your buck.
It is. So as we said, the game coming up here will be Denver versus Angel City. We're going to be interviewing our attorney head shortly, Rex Havoc, and we're sure we're going to hear Chloroform Cupcake ask her about all the great stuff going on here at Big O. I know a lot of first-timers coming to Big O who I've talked to, me being a second-timer from last year. First-timers tell me, wow, this is such a great event. It's been so much fun. There's so many great skaters to meet and talk to and watch and just learn from. And if you're a skater coming to these events, you're going to be glued to that track watching these higher-level skaters just do so well out there and try to say, hey, I'm going to bring that kind of talent back with me. If I can study that and learn how to do it, bring that back with me to my league and try to improve the way we play, the way I play as a skater, the way my league plays as a total league.
Yeah, as we were saying about, that level of skating, a lot of these WFTDA teams will be competing in champs. As we were saying earlier, there is WFTDA international playoffs. Tickets are going on sale in June of 2018. If you need more information on that, you can go to WFTDA.com/tickets. But the last two teams that we just saw, Arch and Victorian, will be there. Pretty sure Angel City and Denver will be there.
That's a safe bet. I would put money on that. But I'm not really a betting man, but I'll put money on that. But talking about the international playoffs coming up, we have a new structure this year. We have the Continental Cups taking the place of Division II. We have the two Division I playoffs, and then we have championships as usual, all over the place. So we have two international sites, one Continental Cup and one D1 playoff. So action all over the world for a global sport. You can't beat that.
I think we've also had a couple of international teams playing this weekend. Bear City have certainly gained a lot of fans this weekend. Not that they didn't have fans already. And of course, Victorian from a little tiny place we call Australia.
A little tiny country somewhere out there in the Pacific, But Big O has been a great tournament for international teams, especially teams in the Eastern or Eastern Asian or Eastern European to come in, travel, and show people what they can do here.
Yeah, getting some ranked games on the system for the likes of WFTDA can sometimes be a little bit difficult for some of the teams in Europe. I've got a number of friends who are on London Roller Girls who have spent a lot of time traveling back and forth to the US in order to get their sanctioned games. Obviously, you've got teams in Sweden and a couple of the other European teams. We've got Rainy City now as well, who had a phenomenal season last season and will do again.
They've been great hosts also for World Cup and other tournaments there, and also hosted a playoff site there last year. We also have teams going as far away as Argentina. Dos por Cuatro played here last year at Big O. Also teams coming in Asia. It's a global sport. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. We say that all the time because it's true. You almost go to any country on Earth, on the globe, there's probably a roller derby team there.
So we are attempting to get tournament head Rex Havoc's to the mic, but as being a busy person that she is, she's being stopped and talked to and things. So if viewers could be patient with
Havoc here. We want her to tell you.
in the chair. And
we,
in the wheelchair.
we want her to talk about all the cool stuff going on, and it looks like she is making her way over. So we're going to give a second for her to get them set up, and we want you to hear about all the wonderful things happening at Big O, and from the head of Big O, the one and only Rex Havoc. So we're going to go ahead when we are ready, and I believe we will be tossing down very shortly to our friend Chloroform Cupcake, who will talk to Rex Havoc and fill in everything going on here at the Big O. Because if you aren't here, you're at home watching on the stream, you want to be here next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were looking jealously at all of the audience members here, I would suggest keeping an eye on the Emerald City page, on the Big O Facebook page, and all that social media, because, if you think the action is great right now, what's it going to look like in a year's time?
Exactly. I mean, we have so many teams coming up and competing at higher levels each and every year, and plus we have the consistent high-level teams that play every single year. So you never know. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get at Big O. But I do know what you are going to get is a great, great derby experience between 3 tracks over 3 days in a lovely city is Eugene, Oregon. I love coming to Eugene. It's a beautiful city. It's a lot of great things going on here, not just in the city, but in the state of Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest. I love being here, and I hope you love being here enough to come up here next year. And even though we love you hearing us on the stream, come visit the games live. Come watch the games live and get that really true in-venue experience. We're going to toss down right now to Chloroform Cupcake, who is speaking with the one and only Rex Havoc.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Chloroform Cupcake, and I'm joined with Rex. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing all right. I've had better days.
So we see that you and I are a battling ram of our tournament. Nailing that. How are you feeling so far? How the tournament is turning out so far?
I feel really thankful and appreciative for our community, our roller derby community. We've had a heck of a year trying to ensure that we can continue the Big O, and thanks to our roller derby community, we feel really strongly that we will do another Big O. There will be a 2019 Big O, and so I just feel really proud, really appreciative, really thankful for all of my volunteers, for everyone who's been patient with us while we troubleshoot through all of our stuff.
Yeah, this is the first year that you guys have done the feed and stream yourselves. So what prompted that change?
Money. It is incredibly expensive to hire a good broadcast team. We happen to have some amazing people in our community that have those tools in their wheelhouse, and we gave it a shot. It was a long jump. We did our an entire broadcast team worth of work with our basic volunteers.
Your hosting staff has been the most incredible I've seen here. Wonderful volunteers, like you said. What are your hopes for next year?
We'd like to continue to build on it. We would like to make it better. We'd like to improve our hospitality. We'd like to continue to strive for economic sustainability. We'd like to make money and show the roller derby community that you can find ways to make money in this sport.
Well, thanks for having us here. Is there anything else out there that you'd like the viewers to know about Emerald City or about the Big O tournament?
From the Big O tournament and from the Emerald City Roller Derby, we'd like to thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts for supporting us and continuing to be patient and helping us grow.
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Cakes with Rex. Thanks for sticking around the Big O.